we have given birth to, I think, 550 plus companies. The likes of people like Ritesh Agarwal of Oyo Rooms, Varun Khaitan, and Abhiraj of Urban Clap started their journey out of our dining table or out of our living rooms, and they are where they are through these co-working spaces. Hi, my name is Yatin Thakur. I'm the founder and CEO of CoworkIn. Welcome to Backstage with Millionaires. In this episode, I'll be talking about my journey on building a chain of co-working spaces in India. Our journey as a co-working space started back in 2011. No one knew what was co-working in India. We decided to start up from a villa. I'm pretty sure you guys would have seen Silicon Valley. And how these guys bootstrap companies out of a villa, how they all live there, how they all host their meetups over there, how they all are having parties over there, but at the same time they are building something concrete. So that was the whole idea which we were working on back in 2011. We started with a co-living and a co-working space. Back then it was called Moonlighting. We started hosting expats, we started hosting young entrepreneurs who were coming to Delhi to establish their identity, and we started providing them very basic minimalist living space and an office space with high-speed internet to come and work on their business ideas and see what happens. At that point of time, we really didn't know what's going to happen. It was like put the coffee beans together and see how the brew turns out to be, and that was the whole concept behind Moonlighting. But you'll be surprised to know, in about 7 years, we have given birth to, I think, 550 plus companies. The likes of people like Ritesh Agarwal of Oyo Rooms, Varun Khaitan, and Abhiraj of Urban Clap started their journey out of our dining table or out of our living rooms, and they are where they are through these co-working spaces. So I think when we were starting up a co-working and a co-living space, it was a totally new concept. Everyone said, oh, these are Western concepts, they may not work in India. No one was really believing in us. No one understood how will this happen. How can you share an office space with 10 more people? How can you space a house with 10 more people? Those were the basic mental blocks which people had when we were starting up. We were like, we are just creating shared resources because the cost is so high. Why should 10 people invest in a printer when the job can be done by one printer? And same goes for the coffee machine, and same goes for the office boy. So initially people were skeptical that will I lose control on my idea? Will I end up disclosing a lot of my information? Is it safe to work out of an environment like this? So there were a lot of apprehensions. That was primarily with regards to getting customers or the challenges which usual customers had. We also faced a lot of issues from the authorities because, like when you're starting up in a city like Delhi and you're starting up out of a villa, the tax authorities come in and say, hey, are you paying tax on this money? The local cops come in and say, hey, are you verifying these people? The other administrative authorities would come in and say, hey, is your land meant for this usage? Can you run any activities out of here? And then you have the neighborhood, which is skeptical in their own ways as to what is happening inside this house. What are all these youngsters doing? Are they all legit? Are they running some illegal businesses out of here? So people had a lot of mental blocks, and no one understood the concept of starting up or concept of entrepreneurship. So I think we have had our good fun days and memories overcoming these challenges. We had a lot of people to justify our positions to, but I think we were able to do it, and It at least makes me proud to say that co-working turned out to be such a big industry in India in these last 7 years, from a villa to co-working becoming a chain, to seeing other international players coming into the country and establishing larger spaces. It does give me a lot of satisfaction and happiness. So, when we started initially, the initial 1.5 year, no one really understood where exactly were we heading, what were we doing. Journey was simple. I was a community manager, office manager, administration manager, founder, director, whatever you can say. It was just me with a set of support team who would look after my administrative things. I would meet people, and the intent was clear that you are providing them an affordable space to get started. You would host a lot of events and meetups to see if you can have any meaningful conversations. And it's very difficult to measure the impact of your work in those initial days. But the real success started coming in when we started getting approached by larger companies. We started getting approached by corporates to say, hey, can we access your space? Investors started knocking our doors. Hey, can we meet your entrepreneurs? We are really looking for cool guys to put money on, but we don't know where to go and find them. And it seems like you have a good bunch of people working out of your spaces. So can we meet them, and can we listen to their pitches and probably figure out a potential deal? And the larger success came in when we actually started getting to see companies like Oyo Rooms getting formed, companies like Urban Clap getting formed. I still remember the days when the Urban Clap founders were on our dining table, and over some beers they are having a conversation with a bunch of other co-workers. Hey, what do you think? What should be our name? They had a whiteboard with a bunch of name options. They are having some voting. They were having random voting to figure out what would be the right name. And finally, Urban Clap was decided as a name on that dining table to see where they are. I think they closed a $50 million round last week. So definitely shows we made some impact. Indian entrepreneurship ecosystem has evolved a lot. Back in the days in 2011, 2012, there were a handful of people trying to do things. I remember Vijay Shekhar Sharma used to live in the same lane where we were operating moonlighting from. And those were the early days of him with Paytm. We have seen early days of angel investors. We have seen early days of e-commerce companies like Flipkart and Snapdeal. I remember meeting the co-founder of Freecharge at one of the events in 2014. From there to now, entrepreneurship has become mainstream. Startup is an industry on its own. If you go to any college, if you meet any youngster, for them, owning a startup is a dream which never existed. So I think that's a big accomplishment for the Indian entrepreneurship ecosystem, and with government coming forward in pushing Startup India, this has definitely amplified the movement multifolds. Entrepreneurship is at its peak in India primarily because you have so many young entrepreneurs who are starting up with new innovative ideas across the country. The biggest challenge which they face is finding like-minded people who will buy into their ideas, who will support them in building up on those ideas and building up on those solutions, and who will potentially buy their product and services. So whenever you start up something, the biggest challenge for any and every person is to have an infrastructure from where they can get started. Where should I go to find a potential co-founder? Where should I go to hire the right people for my company? Where should I go to get mentorship? Where should I go to avail basic office services, all the secretarial services, administrative services, and at the same time, where can I get high-speed internet and where can I get good coffee and tea? So that was the idea behind CoworkIn. We said whenever you are starting up, you are starting it lean. You have very limited resources and very limited money. So to ensure that you are able to keep those costs going and to ensure that you can sustain yourself for a longer time, we thought it's very, very important for us to build affordable infrastructure which is accessible for any and every individual to come forward, use these services and meet fellow entrepreneurs, or I would like to say people who are sinking in the same boat. It's been 7 years. We are almost approaching 2019. CoworkIn successfully operates in 10 locations. Our intent is to set up 10 new locations in 2019. So by the time we welcome 2020, we are hoping we'll be at 20 locations. We have a good pipeline of spaces coming up across the country. So far we have maintained our position to be a Delhi NCR company, but I'm happy to announce that we are venturing into the IT city of the country, Bangalore, and we'll be setting up at least 2 new spaces in the first quarter of 2019 in Bangalore. We are trying to take the company global. We want to connect as many entrepreneurs to each other as possible, and we want to ensure that entrepreneurs are able to move freely. They're able to get an office space in any part of the world, and they get access to a cool set of people who can support them with their ideas to ensure they are able to sustain their businesses. I think the best learnings for us is that the vision is simple. When you are out there to help people, keep doing that. So maintain your vision, maintain your focus. When we started this business, or when we started getting into co-working spaces, the intent was very clear. It was to help people, and it was to create accessible, affordable spaces. And I think over the course of time, we have maintained that. We never drifted away from that vision. We made sure our locations became more central and more prime, and we ensured that our pricing was same, which was affordable. Even till date, we are the most affordable co-working space. We still have a cool set of people who work closely with us in supporting the entire business environment. So there's a lot which we have achieved because we ensured that we maintained the same vision, and we have somewhere stuck to that vision. We didn't drift away. So it's been 15 years now since I became an entrepreneur. I started my journey when I was 16, and in 15 years there's been one key learning for me: that focus on solving a problem. Don't run behind money. Don't run behind investors. Focus on building a real value by building a substantial solution or a business. Competition will come and go. It'll make you stronger. There'll be more and more people who will support you throughout your journey. Don't be scared of taking risks. Don't be scared of thinking beyond your imagination. Try to create disruptory solutions as much as possible. Somewhere it'll pay off. And once your solution is well validated, the world will chase you. Look for that moment. So this has been my journey with CoworkIn. If you liked my episode, if you liked details, if you have any feedback, comments, do post it on this video, and I'll be personally replying to those. And make sure you support the YouTube channel of Backstage with Millionaires as they move ahead and cover more inspiring entrepreneur stories.